Kill la Kill was released October 4th, 2013. It was a TV original anime with 24 episodes and its final episode airing 5 months and 25 days later on March 28th, 2014. Considering Kill la Kill was 23 minutes above average for a 24 episode anime of its time, its 9-hour and 36-minute runtime doesn't feel out of place for the period, but being 1 hour and 11 minutes above average compared against modern 24 episode anime, this would feel like quite a long watch for the modern anime fan, but an extra 1 hour and 11 minutes well worth. Kill la Kill is one of the most outlandish and artsy throwing paint to a canvas animes I've ever seen, and sometimes I wish I could forget it all just to experience watching it again for the first time. Its meta-narrative, flagrant, art style, bold, soundtrack, gym pump worthy, animation ranging anywhere from Michelangelo's brushstrokes to the CGI editor having a stroke. And with its powerful and invigorating story all neatly tied up into one season, it's rightfully garnered the eyes of millions of anime fans, becoming the second most popular anime of 2013 and Studio Trigger's most popular anime of all time. But that is only half the story, because like this anime and every other anime out there is a larger story being told about them right now. A story that we all contribute to. The story defines its legacy, its shape, and how we think about it in real time, one click at a time. This isn't just the story of Kill la Kill. This is the footprint of Kill la Kill. Like my previous video and everything anime related on this channel, I will be looking at Kill la Kill through the lens of data that I've calculated myself, broken down into 4 sections to help paint a more complete picture of what this anime is and how our perceptions of it have changed over time. We will be looking at industry trends, the context behind when this anime was made and how it compares against to today, its director, what influences he was under when making this anime, character popularity and voice actor career trajectory, and lastly, reviews, not on an individual basis, but as a whole. But before we can dive into the data, for those who don't know, what is Kill la Kill about? The story follows Ryuko Matoi, a teenage girl who arrives at Honoji Academy looking for the other half of her father's murder weapon, a giant scissor blade, which will lead to the identity of her father's murderer. But this is no ordinary school. It's ran like a dictatorship, divided into a strict class system where the student council president, Satsuki Kyuri, who owns both the school and the land it was built atop of, rules with an iron fist. At Honoji Academy, performance is everything and a student's rank in the school dictates their family's livelihood. No stars live in the island's slum section, 1 stars live a comfortable middle-class lifestyle, and 2 stars live like millionaires. But that's not all. Each star rank dictates the type of school uniform the students get, and depending on the rank, determines how much life fibers are infused into it. That, when activated, grants the wearer superhuman powers. Then there's a special uniform called Kamui made solely of life fibers and grants the wearer inhuman strength. And Satsuki, the student council president, is the only one who has a Kamui. So when Ryuko arrives at the school and thinks Satsuki knows something about the scissor blade she is wielding, challenges her to a battle. But being an ordinary girl, unaware of this school, its uniforms, and the power within them, naturally gets beat by one of the students at the school. But in a stroke of luck, after returning to her father's ruined home, discovers a secret trap door where Ryuko finds out her father made her own Kamui, called Senketsu. But a quirk of the life fibers uniforms is, in granting superhuman powers, it takes on one of the most physically revealing shapes possible. Probably as much as Studio Trigger could get away with airing on Japanese national television. So Ryuko, self-aware and embarrassed of the uniform's revealing design, but attaining the power she needs to challenge Satsuki, heads back to the school for a rematch. And after beating the student who initially battles her, Satsuki challenges Ryuko to matriculate into Honoji Academy and beat her at her own game, climbing the ranks of the school to learn the truth about her father's murderer. What separates this anime from every other anime you've seen is its blatant provocative visuals. This anime knows exactly what it is, and it uses it as a genuine storytelling device. On the surface, this anime is a bunch of half-naked women battling with giant swords and hell yeah, riding high. But beneath each transformation scene, panty shot, and intentionally low pan camera angle for viewer retention, you will find Kill la Kill is a sharp commentary on Japanese society and what it means to be unique. When I watched this show for the first time in middle school, I felt secondhand embarrassment from it. It made me feel uncomfortable. It felt taboo, like I shouldn't be seeing this anime, but I couldn't take my eyes off of it. But looking back as an adult, this uncomfortable feeling I got from watching this anime was intentional. The secondhand embarrassment I felt from watching this anime is supposed to parallel the self-conscious teenage angst of body image, expressing yourself, and not feeling ashamed for the things you like. Now, there are a lot more other meta commentaries related to Kill la Kill, but this is the most standout one in my opinion. And art is supposed to elicit strong emotion. This anime's message is to be yourself. Wear the clothes you like, do the things you like, and speak your mind without feeling guilty for what other people will think of you. And also, being an adult that pays taxes now, I realize most other people don't care what you like or how you dress, as long as you're kind and respectful. And that is the message this anime is trying to tell you. But delivering that message by having half-naked men battle on screen is incredibly jarring, having the viewer flip-flop between galaxy brain ideas and monkey brain neuron activation. The show burns bright, has fun action scenes, an amazing message, and personally one of the best and most memorable animes I have seen. But now that we have covered the anime, let's take a look at its impact on the industry. You may be curious how Kill la Kill fits into the larger trends in the anime industry. If we were to take all anime made each year and divide them into two categories, short anime, anime that are 13 episodes or less, and long anime, anime that are 14 episodes or more, on a graph, we see Kill la Kill was made at the exact transition year where anime went from long form to short form style seasons, which was probably done in a play to minimize the risk that the studios would have in making a single anime. Looking at the two themes for Kill la Kill, school and urban fantasy on a graph, we see some interesting stuff. For the school theme, Kill la Kill was made before it peaked in popularity in 2016 with 129 anime made that year with the theme. And for urban fantasy, we see it was made before it peaked in 2015 with 17 anime made that year with the theme. So this gives us some interesting insights. First of all, if you ever had this sneaking suspicion that there were a lot of school anime from the early 2010s, you were onto something. But also, we see Kill la Kill was very much following the trends of its time, being a school anime. Switching gears and looking at Kill la Kill's four genres, action, comedy, fantasy, and ecchi on a graph, we see even more interesting stuff. Kill la Kill was made before action peaked in popularity in 2023 with 288 anime made that year with the action theme. For comedy, it was made before it peaked in popularity in 2016 with 356 anime made that year with the comedy theme. For fantasy, it was made before that genre peaked in popularity in 2023 with 333 anime made that year with a theme. And lastly, for ecchi, it was made after that theme peaked in popularity in 2011 with 53 anime made that year with the theme. So when we see Kill la Kill's themes and genres broken out, like Tony Stark swiping windows with his fingers, we can make an interesting observation. Kill la Kill was released at the perfect time for a show like that to be made. During that time, there was a lot of ecchi anime being made, but also a lot of school anime. Where if this anime was made a few years before or a few years after, I don't think it would be in the right climate to be successful as it would be. Either being made when there was too much ecchi anime being made, or when there was too much school anime being made. Kill la Kill was directed by Imaishi Hiroyuki. Over his 30-year career so far in the anime industry, he has directed 19 anime and has held various roles in 86 other anime, with his most active year in the anime industry so far being in 1997. In his 18 years in the anime industry leading up to the creation of Kill la Kill, Hiroyuki had worked on 85 anime, holding multiple roles for 24 of them, and holding the director role for 9 of them. If we take a look at the themes he was exposed to before his work on Kill la Kill, the most common are mecha, school, and parody. And for the genres, they are action, comedy, and sci-fi. Before Imaishi Hiroyuki had directed Kill la Kill, he directed 23 hours and 19 minutes worth of anime, and after directing Kill la Kill, directed an additional 15 hours and 23 minutes worth of anime, totaling 48 hours and 18 minutes of anime directed to date so far. And looking at the most popular anime he directed of all time, we see Kill la Kill sits rightfully at number 1. Before Kill la Kill, the most popular anime he had directed was Gurren Lagann, and the most recent anime he is directing right now is the gag humor and parody anime called Penny and Stocking with Garterbelt. How fitting. And while I ran out of time this week to write the code to calculate the hard facts, he has worked with a lot of extraordinary people, perhaps most notably working with Hideki Anno early on in his career, where he was doing the in-between and key animations for Evangelion. And having watched both Kill la Kill and Evangelion, I can see similar visual art styles appearing in both of the anime, except Kill la Kill didn't run out of budget, although it stylistically makes it look like it has on the final episode. Now there are 4 main characters and 40 supporting characters in Kill la Kill, so in the sake of time, we'll be focusing on the most popular characters and voice actors in the series, those being Ryuko, Satsuki, Mako, and Senketsu for the main cast. and then Nonon and Nui for the supporting cast. Starting off, Ryuko was voice acted by Koshimizu Anu. This voice actor entered the anime industry in Mei Tantei Conan and has voiced in over 375 roles, of which 109 are main roles and 266 are supporting. When Kill la Kill was made, this was their 167th role and 17th year in the anime industry. As for Kill la Kill, this is the top 7th most popular character they have voice acted for. Moving on, we have Satsuki, voice acted by Yuzuki Ryoka. This voice actor entered the anime industry in Cool Devices and is voiced in over 252 roles, of which 50 are main and 202 are supporting. When Kill la Kill was made, this was their 161st role and 18th year in the anime industry, and is still the most popular character they have voice acted for. Continuing down the main cast, we have one of the most memed characters of the series, being Mako, voice acted by Suzaki Aya. This voice actor entered the anime industry in Bakuman and has voiced over 156 roles, of which 46 are main and 110 are supporting. When Kill la Kill was made, this was their 14th role and 3rd year in the anime industry, and is still the most popular character they have voice acted for, just like Satsuki. And lastly, for the main cast, we have Ryuko's sailor uniform, Senketsu, voice acted by Seki Toshihiko. This voice actor entered the anime industry in Torch and has voiced over 368 roles, of which 89 are main and 279 are supporting. When Kill la Kill was made, this was their 271st role and 28th year in the anime industry, and is the 2nd most popular role they have voice acted for. Moving on to the supporting cast, we have Nonon, voice acted by Shintani Mayumi. This voice actor entered the anime industry in Pokemon and has voiced over 44 roles, of which 5 are main and 39 are supporting. When Kill la Kill was made, this was their 18th role and 16th year in the anime industry, and is the 3rd most popular role they have voice acted for. And lastly, for the supporting cast, we have Harime Nui. This voice actor entered the anime industry in Mei Tantei Conan and has voiced in over 349 roles, of which 105 are main and 224 are supporting. When Kill la Kill was made, this was their 192nd role and 17th year in the anime industry, and is the 35th most popular role they have voice acted for. So from the data, we can see for Mon Kanshok's voice actor, this is one of the earliest lead roles she was in, helping start her career. But looking at the career trajectories of the other voice actors, we see there isn't any sudden jump or leap like we saw in the previous anime. Instead, more or less, most of these characters got less main roles over time and picked up more side work doing supporting roles. Within the anime community today, Kill la Kill is the 56th most popular anime of all time and has over 1.78 million members. It has been favorited by over 38,000 MyAnimeList viewers, and for 2013, Kill la Kill is the 2nd most popular anime of that year, only losing to Attack on Titan, which was a global phenomenon and way more marketable than Kill la Kill for obvious reasons. If you were to watch Kill la Kill, there's a 92.2% likelihood you will finish the anime based on the number of reported MyAnimeList viewers who have completed versus dropped the show. And considering this score compared against the past 2 anime we looked at, Re:Zero and Evangelion, this feels really low relatively compared to them. Looking at the score distribution of Kill la Kill, people generally seem to rate it quite highly. If we compare against the average percentage of users who score 1 through 10 across all anime against Kill la Kill, we see Kill la Kill is above average for ratings 10, 9, and 8, and below average for ratings 6, 5, 4, 3, and 1, and average for ratings 7. And compared against the average percentage of users who score 1 through 10 for the top 100 anime of all time, we see Kill la Kill is above average for ratings 8, 7, and 6, below average for ratings 10 and 9, and average for ratings 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So what this tells us is, while Kill la Kill is one of the best animes of all time, people don't seem to rate it a 10 out of 10 show as often as the average top 100 anime of all time. And this probably has to do with the fact of the show's ecchi themes, which may deter potential viewers from the show. On MyAnimeList, there have been 455 anime reviews written about Kill la Kill, making it the 57th most reviewed anime of all time. But that's not the whole story. If we look at the word count of all the reviews for Kill la Kill, we find it has 200,832 words written amongst all of its reviews, marking it in 35th place amongst animes with the most words in its reviews. And in terms of vocabulary uniqueness compared against the other top 10 anime with the most words, we find it ranks 11th with 10,816 unique words spread amongst all of its reviews. So from this data, we see while it doesn't have a whole lot of words, in its reviews, it has a lot of unique words amongst them. Moving on, if we look at the recommendation for reviews, that is, did a user who wrote this review recommend the anime, we find 80% of users recommend Kill la Kill, 9% don't, and 11% have mixed feelings about it. And lastly, if we look at Kill la Kill's reviews on a timeline, we find it has the most reviews written about it in 2014, which after that does a low taper fade off, where picking back up in 2020 coincides with the other anime we've looked at, suggesting that through the data, 2020 was a very popular year for anime. So what do the numbers tell us? Kill la Kill was released at the perfect intersection of peak popularity in school-themed anime and anime with the ecchi genre. It was in the perfect climate to be a natural hit with its energetic animation, punchy action scenes, and cohesive storytelling, ultimately making it surge past the regular seasonal tides in anime, earning its place as one of the best anime of all time. For Imaishi Hiroyuki, this was the most popular anime he directed, and as for the voice actors, this had some of the most popular roles. With a 92.2% completion rate, 80% positive reviews, and ranking as 2013's second most popular anime of all time, this show was a cultural phenomenon of its time. But truth be told, Kill la Kill was also a product of its time. Modern trends are different, tastes are different, and if a show like this was released in 2025, I fear it would not receive the same fanfare. Ecchi anime is made less than it was in the early 2010s, and so are school anime for that matter. For older anime fans, this show has carved out a permanent place in our shared cultural consciousness, but being 12 years after the fact, for younger anime fans, this will probably be more of a deep-cut anime. But no matter what, the anime's message still rings true: be free, be unique, never feel ashamed for who you are or for what you like, no matter how much society puts pressure on you to conform. And from the story and its data, we can certainly see the footprint of that. Like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.